Okay, so we have a little word problem. An angle is 44 degrees more than its complement. You might have the word supplement here, and I'll talk about that. You're going to either have complement or supplement. It randomizes it. What are the measures of the two angles? List your angles from smallest to largest. Okay, so they're saying an angle is 44 degrees more than its complement. And again, you might have the word supplement. It randomizes the word there. Complement or supplement. So they're basically saying, hey, we got a couple angles and they're complementary or they're supplementary, is what they're basically saying. So, okay, so what do I do about that? Well, what you want, this is a word problem, right? So on a word problem, you want to get a formula for every letter in the problem. So I'm gonna let x equal the first angle. So you always start off by just letting x be the first angle or the first whatever, right, in a word problem. Now, here's the trick. What's the other angle going to be? And in fact, let's say its complement. Now they're spelling it correctly. Its complement. So I've got to come up with the complementary angle. Well, how do you do that? In other words, I'm not doing the 44 yet. I'll save that till the 44 is going to be over here when I come to write the equation. We'll do that in a minute, or whatever number you have. We'll do that in a minute. But right now, I'm just focused on the angle and its complement. Just forget about the 44 for right now, and just think, okay, how do you have a formula for an angle? That's just x. And then what's the formula if x is the first angle? What's the formula going to be for its complement, the angle that it's complementary with? Let's just and you might have supplementary. Either way, how do you do it? How do we do that? Well, remember, we just did it, right? Back here on 1, 2, and 3. Let's just think back, right? They gave us 25 or whatever number you had on number 1, and some other angle, and they said they're complementary. And they spelled the word wrong. They're complementary. What do we do? Subtracted from 90, right? And then on this next one, they said 36 and some angle are supplementary. So I took that 36 and I did what? Subtracted from 180. That's how you get the one that's supplementary. So do you see the deal? You take the first angle they give you and you subtract from 90 for complementary, and you take the first angle they gave you and subtract from 180 for supplementary in order to get the second other angle, right? That's what you do with numbers. So that's exactly what you're going to do with letters. A letter is just a number we don't currently know. So coming on back, if x is the first one, right here, if x is the first angle, what formula am I going to put for its complement?
Would it be 44 plus x?
Remember, we'll do the 44 in a minute. Yeah, we're not doing the 44 right now. The 44 will be over here in a minute when we write the equation. You actually could do the 44 right now. There's a way of doing it that way, but I think this will be easier for you. So let's hold off on the 44, even though you're right, you could do it that way. There is a way to make that work, and maybe you have, and that's great if you know about all that. But I'm just going to do it this other way, which I think will prove to be easier in the end. So just set aside the 44 for a minute. And let's.
Would it be 180 minus x?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, it's a complement, so it'd be 90.
Right. I got you. Yeah, you're totally right. Minus x, right? So it's 90 minus x for complement, or 180 if you have supplement, huh? 180 if you have, if you have supplement. I'll put that in parentheses because that's not what I have, but I know some of you do. Yeah, that's right. So either 90 minus x for complement or 180 minus x for supplement. Now, a very common mistake that people make is they'll remember this. They'll go, okay, what's what I've seen over the years? They'll go, yeah, complement, I know that, it's 90, and then they'll go, x minus 90. That's wrong. The 90's got to come first, or 180 if it's supplement. The number has to come first, doesn't it? That order of subtraction matters. It makes a difference who comes first. So you got to be careful there. It's a really easy, common mistake to make. So watch out. And let's go back again to like questions 1 and 2, right? You had to start with the 90. That's the bigger one. That's their total. And subtract, or supplementary, you had to start with the 180 coming first, and then subtract the first angle to get the other angle, don't you? So same thing with the x. The x is just a number I don't currently know. So if x is the first angle, then 90 minus x is the complement, or 180 minus x is the supplement. That's exactly the same, isn't it, as what we did in problems 1 and 2. We're just doing it with an x now. So watch out. Make sure the number comes first, not the x. Okay, now let's bring the 44 into the program. So what are they saying about the 44? Well, they're saying the angle is 44 more than its complement. And yours might say less. Some of them say less, more or less. Basically, whether they say more or less, it's the same deal. Either way, that means that's their difference, right? Like if I have, if one brother is 3 years older than another brother, then that's the difference in their ages. What does that mean? That means if you subtract their ages, you'll get that answer, won't you? Right? If two things are different, if one is more or less than the other, that means that when you subtract them, you'll get that answer. So that means if I take the angle x, right, first angle, minus the 90 minus x, got the right color there, which is the complement, or if you have the 180 supplement, put the 180 minus x, that's got to equal the 44, right? Because that is how different they are. Does that make sense? Their subtraction has to equal 44. They are different by 44 degrees. The first one is 44 more than the second one. So if you take the first one minus the second one, that difference equals 44. All right, there's our equation. Now we solve that equation for x. Here's the wall of separation. So now remember what you do with a minus sign in front of a parenthesis. It has to distribute, doesn't it? Remember that kind of thing? Some people think of it as a -1. That's fine, or just a minus sign. It's good either way. Same thing. You'll get minus 90 and plus x. Everybody see what happened there? That minus sign, or -1, either way, same thing, distributed and multiplied the 90. -1 times 90 is minus 90. -1 times minus x, two minuses, make the plus x, don't they? Okay. Now, x plus x, that's really 1x and 1x, isn't it? So it's 2x. It's not x squared. It's x squared if they're multiplied, but they're not multiplied. When you add x's, you just add the numbers in front. 2x. Keep going. So now we will add 90 to both. Boom, boom. And we get 2x equals, what's that, 134. Use your calculator if you need it. Last step, divide by 2. I'm getting 67. 67. So x is 67. Now, we're almost done. So we have one of the answers is 67. How do we find the other answer?
We plug in the x for one of the equations we already have.
Yeah, exactly. So you take that x, that's 67. That's the first angle, but then you plug it in for x into the other, whether you have the supplement formula or the complement, whatever, plug into whatever you have. So 90 minus x is the complement. And so plugging in the x, which is my x, is 67 equals, so plug in the 67 there. I'm getting whatever that is, 23. So my two angles are 23 and 67. Now careful, they want you to list them from smallest to largest. So I'd have to put the 23 first and then the 67, even though I called the other one the first, whatever, you got to put them from smallest to largest like that. And so there we go. There's the two answers. It's interesting to note that they really do work, don't they? If you add these two angles up, they'll add up to be 90. They really are complementary. And if you subtract them, the difference is 44, which is exactly what it says. An angle is 44 more than its complement. So it works out. Those really are the two angles they're speaking of. All that math leads to truth, which is one of the things I enjoy about math. It's always just going after truth.